Welcome back to Magic Pulse Review, and today we are reviewing a brand new product from Tom Stone himself, a book called KNYTKALAS. This is not a physical product, it's a digital book, so there's nothing to show off here today, but I will try to cover it the best way possible anyway. And what you're buying is in fact 11 pieces, effects, part of this book. All of the elements or pieces are either by Tom Stone himself or some of his friends, Thomas Blomberg and Henrik Holmberg. And the collection of effects is it's a mixture of close-up and parlor and even some stage effects. It's I would say it's card material. It is torn and restored. It's a complete mixture of different kind of effects, and which also I guess also gives a name to the book, which I will come back to very, very soon. And as you all know, Tom Stone is probably known as approaching magic as theater, more at least than just a sequence of methods. My question throughout this review was in the line of, is this a collection of ideas that I enjoy reading, or is it also a genuine working material inside, which is kind of interesting. And before we get into the details, we need to address the title of the book, KNYTKALAS. Because if you're not Swedish, you don't understand much about that title. And to be honest, it is a Swedish word made up of two words. One of those words is kalas, which basically means party. And KNYTKALAS is more like a combination of words. It means something like maybe a potluck gathering where people gather, they bring food of different parts, and they just have a huge party. And I think that also kind of fits the book, because yes, even though Tom Stone is the author of most of the effects in this book, it does have some contributors, and there is also huge and loads of credits in this book going out to a lot of well-known magicians. So this is a very good name for a very good book. And Tom Stone, if you are watching this, I know you are, I really hope that this book sometime in the future will be published in the hardback, softback kind of physical product, but because it really deserves it. And I will even promise you to buy two of them, one for my magic library and another for my kitchen shelf. Let's dig into KNYTKALAS and have a look what Tom has on the menu. So what is really KNYTKALAS, the book? Well, KNYTKALAS is I think it's about 32 pages PDF, which you can buy, of course, and it has about 11 items. And let's say, very short, that they are very varied. Very varied in both complexity, in all kinds of structure in any way. While some might be for beginners, others will be for very interested people or very advanced magicians. I would say 9 of them are kind of ready to perform effect, while 2 of them are more things you need to look into. It gives you more of a structure or an idea on how to, or a premise of an effect, which you need to dig more into yourself. The PDF is very heavily illustrated. It has beautiful illustrations, hand-drawn, and the content is very, very good explanations, very easy to read, and it looks pretty good. As I mentioned earlier as well, it is very well credited, so going out to people like Sly Dini, Roy Walton, Di Vernon, Max Maven, Paul Harris, John Kerry, Jay Sankey, and a whole lot more magicians. So, and I also think that kind of gives the content a structure or a weight, that what you are about to read is of high, good quality. One important thing about the book is that with the book you get a performance license. Owners of a legal copy will be legal to or receive performance rights for all the effects in the book. Though, if you are broadcasting or streaming anything or performing live for more than 350 people, you should reach out to Tom for some explicit rights to do those kind of performances. So, a short overview of what this is. As I have mentioned, it is a book. But my first impression of this is, of course, it's not a physical thing. It is an ebook. And to be honest, I hate ebooks. I'm sorry, Tom, but I do. I love books that are physical. I mean, I use my computer 24/7, and I love using a computer for everything besides reading magic books. Though I must admit that this book was a pleasure to read, but in a general opinion, I hate reading ebooks, so that was kind of the first impression of the book for me. Fortunately, from there, it went only one direction, which is in the total opposite direction. Because everything else with the book is, I mean, the production quality in terms of production quality, when we talk about the PDF, at least how it looks on the digital format, it looks really, really good. The content, everything, explanations, the illustrations and everything are really, really, really nice. And it's in a typical, I would say, Tom Stone style and fashion. And as a general overview of the product, I would say it's really good. It's the teaching quality is easy to follow. It doesn't necessarily explain everything you need to know for every effect, but that's how it is, I guess, today. You need to have some basic knowledge or have other resources look up into. But yeah, the general overview is really, really good. There's no packaging. There's nothing to look at. So in terms of a digital product, I would say it stands out. So what about real-world practicality? Meaning, how does these effects work in the real world? I have to admit, I haven't tried any of these effects out in the real world yet. To be honest, the practicality of almost every effect in KNYTKALAS varies dramatically from item to item. They're very, very different. Some of them would be very, very easy to adapt and to just include in your working set already, while others might require quite a lot of both preparation and setup and reset and all those kind of stuff. So it all depends. Some of the items or pieces, I would say, are genuinely practical, very practical. I mean, like, case number is an effect in the book, which is very, very practical, while others, let's say Tears of Osiris, which is my favorite, which I will come back to later, is not, well, it's practical, but if I were to do, let's say, some strolling magic table hopping from, let's say, 15, 20 tables an evening, I most likely wouldn't do a lot of these effects. Though, Tears of Osiris, which is my favorite in the book, I would probably take my time and to prepare 20 sets of this effect alone, just because it's so good. Another thing that is worth mentioning, it's, as I said, it's very varied, so some of the effects require slapping, some requires tables, some require not a table, so I think it's something for a lot of people, but you need to be to kind of understand the concept of each trick and what it requires, because it is very varied, and it all depends on what you kind of prefer. Since it's such a varied type of material in this book, I think it also means that any individual performer will probably only use a small portion of these effects in their material. I think this is a typical book, at least for me, that I will fall in love with a couple of effects. The rest I won't care that much about, but in a year or 2 or 5 or 10, this might change. In this book, I found several very, very good pieces, and which for me means that this book is it's a good high standard, and I will for sure be digging into a lot of these pieces in the future. So, what about knowledge? What kind of knowledge is required to perform the effects in this book? And wow, I think we could have spent a whole lot of time talking about this, but let's be honest, at least I'm not sure if Tom would agree with me, but this, in my opinion, this is not a beginner's magic book. This requires you to know quite a lot about magic, at least you should Even though as a beginner you would most likely find pieces here that are very, very interesting and that you might perform. I think there are some individual pieces here that mechanically are simple, but the overall, I think, or the collection, the overall collection assumes that the reader, the performer or the magician understands some sleights and theatrical construction. I would really, really love if this book also had a video material instruction thing going along, because some of these effects, I'm not saying they are complex, but I think they would be even easier to understand if there was a video to follow along, or to maybe even have some explanations or some discussions recorded about every effect or piece, but that's only my my opinion, but that would be really, really good. So a tip for you, Tom. So what about the entertainer fit? Who is this book really for? As I said earlier, it is not a magician or a beginner's book in magic, but if you're a magician that enjoys constructing routines rather than just merely learning isolated secrets, effects, or doing a copy-paste, this book is for you. But I would really recommend anyone to read this, because the content, everything between the lines are really, really good. And so, as I said, I mean, the book, it makes it, I would say, particularly maybe useful to performers interested in retaining, theatrical logic, and maybe as well attention management, I would say. Also, by the way, by the performance style. If you're a performer that... I thought about this as I read the book. What kind of character would love to perform these effects? And I would say it fits characters or performers that have a kind of a playful style, maybe a little bit surreal or a slightly dark character. But again, that's all about performance style. So everything can, of course, be adapted, but that's just something I thought about when I read the book. And if you are, by the way, a typical online magician looking for visual effects, this is not a book for you. Well, of course, you could probably adapt as well, but it's not one of those kind of books. One very important thing, by the way, at the end here, is that fortunately, most of the methods are separable from the supplied presentations, which means that the book works best when you treat the scripts as, let's call it, demonstrations of a structure, rather than lines that must be copied, which of course is the way that all magic should be. But I think it's even more important in this book, KNYTKALAS from Tom Stone. So what about some final recommendations? Well, my first recommendation would be, do not judge this book by the number of effects of pieces that you expect to perform immediately. I still will invest quite some time before performing any of these pieces in any kind of a setting for myself. I would rather instead maybe judge this book on how many pieces that are relevant for your venue, your technical level, or your performance character. By the way, I also usually get asked, what is the best effect in the book, or which one would you recommend? And I think that's very difficult to answer. But for me, the most interesting, I would say, effect in the book is Tears of Osiris, which has it has the largest dramatic payoff, I would say. So, but it also demands quite a lot of preparation and also rehearsal as well as reset. So it's kind of a complex small little piece. But as I said earlier, if I were to do a table hopping setting, I would gladly, instead of doing a reset, just prepare 10 or 20 sets of this effect alone, and I think it would play really, really well. Imagine, I won't go into detail, but it's kind of two very different concepts in magic mixed into a new concept, and it plays amazing. So Tears of Osiris, here we go. And I don't know, again, Tom Stone, if you want to hate me for this, but again, it is not a beginner's book. I would say beginners should not buy this expecting 11 easy to perform effects, because they're not. There are a few approachable items, but most of the value of the effects assumes prior knowledge or quite a lot of practice or rehearsal, I would say. Even though magic in general would require practice and rehearsal, it definitely goes for most of the effects in KNYTKALAS. So I guess the question is, as always, is it a worker or is it not? There are so many items, and if you find one item that you will adapt, well, then it's a worker, right? I would say yes, it is a worker, but not in the shallow sense of 11 tricks or 11 effects that you can learn tonight and perform tomorrow. If you put a lot of work into it, there are so many great workers here, and that will play very well. They will be received very well, and you will love them. This is working material created with real audiences. So basically, I would say it's not a catalog of automatic tricks, like just pieces that just work. It is a collection of performance pieces that kind of well, it's performance pieces. There are methods, there are constructions that become workers when they are matched with the correct or the right performer in the right environment, in a kind of way. To put this in a more fun way, I would say this is not fast food magic. It's something you really need to work on, and it's difficult to give this book rating as my other reviews, where you focus on audience reactions and you focus on methods. This is a book of several effects. So I would just give it an overall verdict today. A Magic Pulse review ending up in 8.88 by out of 10, which is amazing, I would say. So that was Magic Pulse review. This time Tom Stone's KNYTKALAS ebook, not a physical product yet. Hopefully it will be in the future. Thank you so much, Tom, for sending me this product for a review. And everyone else, please like and subscribe, and also sign up at magicpulse.net to, connect with everything that is happening in the magic community around the world. Until next time, see ya!